Alrighty, I kind of fell behind on my behind the scenes posts, so I'm just gonna put 3 of them in one video, which should be easy because these ones should be shorter anyways. They were not super high concept. The why is there so much goddamn high school anime video was the one that was the most recently conceptualized out of all of these, which was kind of just born from me having the thought that the reason that there's so much high school anime is because high school might be the most like interesting time in a Japanese person's life. Like that they're so work centric and so like just that their adult lives have so little options that high school would probably be almost an escapist like period for them. And also of course that there's lots of high school anime viewers who can relate to it. So and it's just become so ingrained in the medium at this point that it's like just a natural go-to. So yeah, I just had that idea and thought it would be cool for a video. And I thought of it before the Shinbo in the 90s stuff. I think I thought of it around the end of September. No. I thought of it all the way back around when I made the video about Turn Your Brain Off. Like, not long after I made that video, I had this idea, but at the time, I didn't want to do another one that was, like, a broad cultural idea kind of thing, because I thought, like, I knew this video would probably be, like, pretty successful. I was like, this is an idea that, like, everyone's going to be interested in. It's relevant to all anime fans. But I just didn't want to write it. Like, I wanted to write something more specific and, like, analytical. And so I kind of just put this on hold for a while so that I could go write stuff like the, Haikyuu and Kuroko or the Shinbo in the 90s stuff that I've been working on. And this one just kind of took a back seat. But then, so I talked about this before, that going into November, I had this whole plan that me and Devu were going to put out a video every other day for the whole month. It was going to be this huge stunt thing. Which, in retrospect, no way that would have been possible. Like, vastly overestimating what we could have done. Because what I instead boiled it down to is I already had 6 posts I'd written. The Gurren Lagann one came out at the end of last month, and there would be 5 that would come out, one every 6 days for the rest of this month. And Devu's had, some difficulty even keeping up with this one every 6 days schedule. So probably would not have been possible to do each of these videos in 2 days, like considering the amount of effort that's actually gone into a few of these. So yeah, why is there so much goddamn high school anime was the one I just kind of scheduled first, but all 5 of these were written like around the same time, and I just I mixed up the order of them a little bit so that there wouldn't be two. I didn't want Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill videos to come out back to back, because that could have happened, or like or to do 2 cool character designs back to back. So, which spoilers, another one of those is coming. So yeah, I just kind of mixed up the pot of these videos. So why is there so much goddamn high school anime came out? And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to say about the behind the scenes of that one. Then there's great scenes in anime at Legends Advice and Shirobako. So great scenes in anime is something I've wanted to do for fucking ever. Like way back on my anime blog, I did one like post of this, which was not even long. Like I just wanted it to be a way to to take scenes that really resonated with me and talk about why, whether at length or not, just like as a way of highlighting that these scenes exist. And I'd done one on my blog for just like a minor scene from the show called Gakuen Alice that I don't even fucking remember. Like even rereading the scene that I wrote about it, I was like, I don't remember this shit, but that's because it was sort of like a warm-up round. It was like a one I just watched and I thought was cool, and it's right about it. But there's certain scenes I've wanted to cover forever, and I won't even say what the biggest one is. Like the one that I've had on my mind like since I first conceptualized doing great scenes in anime. There's like one scene that I've always wanted because I think it's the best scene in the show it's a part of, and like to a crazy degree, like that I think that scene is way better than the rest of the show, even though it's already a good show. But I won't say what it is. But so I've wanted to do this for a long time. I've had like a lot of ideas to launch it with. And then when I did this whole thing I talked about 1,000 times, where at the end of last year I had this plan to make 8 different shows that would come out every other month. One of those was great scenes in anime. And so I had written out like a list of shows that I was going to cover for that. And now it's finally real. So that's the I think, fourth of those series that has actually been realized now. Maybe the third. It was cool character designs. Then there was one I just kind of abandoned. 10 cool directing tricks. So yeah, I guess it's only the third one that's like actually survived as a series. But yeah, Great Scenes in Anime hopefully can become a series. I don't want to make any promises because God knows that never goes well. But yeah, one of the ones I had in mind was Shirobako. So I planned this last year that I was going to talk about this particular scene from this episode, and then I finally did it in this like blitz of writing that I did at the end of October. So yeah, that was cool. Pretty easy to do. Actually, this particular one has even more backstory because with Shirobako, like, I struggled for a long time about what can I say about this show, because what's like so much of what's great about Shirobako to me is all the interconnections, like all the things it says about the industry, and it's hard to communicate that because, like, to me, I know so much about the anime industry that, like, this was speaking right to my passions. Like, this is everything I could possibly be interested in, on top of being a fantastic show. And you know, I was trying to figure out how to do that. At one point, I had an idea to make a series of videos where I would just explain every single reference in Shirobako and why it matters, like why it's there, which would have been this huge epic project. And I mean, I'm not saying it can't happen, but I didn't think anybody would watch it. Like, it just seemed like an idea for a show that would be way too long for people to maintain interest, and it would probably be like, you know, only a select few people cared enough to stick through with it. So I never launched into it. But then I at one point recorded a vlog basically explaining exactly what I talked about in this video. This was before Otacon, so it didn't have the whole connection, and before Shin Godzilla, so it didn't have those extra connections to like deepen it even more. But it was just me explaining, like, you know, that process of going to Annie pages and finding out about Toshiyuki Inoue and then, like, connecting it back to the show. And, like, I recorded this vlog and I went to edit it and I just kind of thought it sucked. Like, I just thought it wasn't good enough to express the point about Shirobako. So finally, now I wrote out a version of it and I was satisfied with the write-up, and I thought, okay, this can happen, and it became a video. And then lastly, Kill La Kill's inventive animation. This one kind of springs off of points that I was making towards the start of last year. At the beginning of 2015, I did a bunch of videos about visual presentation. Like, I was really fixated on visuals because I felt like the conversation surrounding visuals was not up to snuff. Like, people weren't talking about it in the way I wanted them to. And one of the things I broke down was Kill La Kill's opening scene and how great its use of tension and payoff is, and like how much I love just the flow of that whole scene. And there have been some people who commented things like, yeah, well, that scene's great, but Kill La Kill's not always like that, you know, or there's lots of people who had like complaints about Kill La Kill's visuals, and like I really think it's the best looking show I've ever seen. Like, Kill La Kill is my favorite show to look at, favorite show to watch, like in terms of just pure visual excitingness. And people kept like contesting me on it, being like, oh, I think Kill La Kill looks like shit, or you know, pretty obviously a huge part of this video is a response to Demolition D's review of Kill La Kill from way back, where he specifically like picked out the scene of Sanagayama and like showed that as he was describing that the animation was like, you know, the budget was inconsistent or whatever, you know, like complaining about the inconsistency in the animation. I'm like, that scene's fucking hilarious. Like, that's one of the best shots in that episode. It's really funny. Or Satsuki when she like does the weird walk cycle up the building in CG, which I always thought looked awesome, you know. Like, to me, it's obvious that Kill La Kill's doing that goofy shit on purpose. Like, it's meant to look stupid and funny because they didn't have to do that. Like, they didn't have to, like, do these weird stills panning around and stuff. Like, if they wanted it to look serious, they could have. But they didn't want it to look that way. They wanted it to look funny because it's way more entertaining than if it was, you know, just a bunch of fucking static shots, which is what it would have been, because that's what most anime are. I explained all this in the video. But, so yeah, I just wanted to play a critical defense for the show, and I almost didn't do it because it's so late. And like, originally, the whole bit about Harime Nui, that was actually written 6 months ago as its own video. Like, I was thinking about just writing up like just really short, bite-sized like impression, like just random thoughts I have about shows. You know, just like, man, that Harime Nui scene sure is cool. Let's just fucking write a video about it. Because and even going back before that, in 2015, when I was doing this whole visual thing, talking about visuals and stuff, I had planned a panel about Hiroyuki Imaishi. I wanted to do a convention panel on Imaishi, like an hour-long presentation about why he's so fucking great. And I had all these ideas for it, and that Hajime Nui scene, like, explaining that was one of them. Like, I really wanted to break down how, like, you know, people look at it and just think, like, that's, you know, it's cheap, but, like, when you actually think about how you do that, like, it takes some thought and care, you know, put into it. And I thought that was really cool, and so I wanted to make a panel about that, but I got denied from Otakon. They didn't accept my panel idea, and I don't go to any other conventions. And then yeah, later I wrote just like almost a year later, I wrote a post that was just about that Nui scene. It was just gonna be like a 2-minute video, and that's it. But then I just kind of held on to it and never made it. And then when I was doing this whole preparation for this month of videos, I was like, let's just lay out there that I think Kill La Kill looks great, and explain why, and explain the Nui scene, and I just wholesale took that video I'd written and placed it in this one, along with all the other stuff around it. Yeah, and I think it came out pretty well, and it's doing pretty well today. People seem to be into it. Some people have a problem with the fact that I said you're an idiot if you don't get that this is supposed to be a joke. And I feel like the phrasing I used is, like, if you can't tell that the scene of Sanagiyama falling off the cliff is meant to be funny, then you are a human idiot. And people are complaining, like, oh, you're saying an idiot for not getting a joke? No, I'm saying you're an idiot for not recognizing a joke. And you've confirmed that idiocy because this is also a joke. I said you are a human idiot. It's obviously meant to be tongue-in-cheek and funny. You know, who the fuck just calls you an idiot in the middle of a video? I think it's funny. All my friends who I showed it to laughed at that moment. So, yeah, just kind of doubles down. Yes, you're an idiot if you don't recognize a joke when you see one. You don't have to get it and think it's funny. Just, how can you not recognize a joke? Whatever. I'm sure you all beautiful people understood perfectly fine. So yeah, that's those 3 videos, and there's 2 more coming out before this month is out, so look forward to those. As I already spoiled, one of them's cool character designs, and the last one, hopefully we can get out by the end of the month, because it's going to be kind of a doozy to edit. But yeah, I'll see you then.